The city of Aurelia was burning, the sky filled with dark smoke and orange flames. Buildings crumbled under the alien raiders' attack, and the ground shook with every blast. Rylan ran through the streets, his boots kicking up dust and debris. His heart pounding in his chest, he could hear screams echoing from every corner. The sound of metal twisting and breaking, and the cries of terrified civilians. He had never seen anything like this in his life. The chaos was endless, but he could not stop. Not when he knew someone needed help. Ahead, he saw her, a small alien. Girl with blue skin and glowing eyes, trapped under a piece of falling rubble, her tiny hands pushed against the stone. Her face twisted in fear, and she looked at him, silently begging for help. Rylan's breath caught in his throat, but he did not hesitate. He sprinted forward, dodging falling beams and fire. A sharp explosion from a nearby building sent shards of metal flying past him, but he ignored the pain in his arm. "Hold on," he shouted, gripping the rubble, trying to lift it. The girl's eyes widened, and she clutched at his shirt, her small fingers brushing against his chest. Rylan pushed with all his strength, sweat pouring down his face, his legs trembling. Finally, the rubble shifted just enough for the girl to crawl out, and he caught her before she fell. She was shaking, but alive, her glowing eyes fixed on him, silently thanking him. Before he could celebrate, a deafening roar filled the air, a blast of energy rushing toward them like a wall. Rylan saw it too late, and without thinking, he threw himself over the girl, shielding her from the deadly force. The heat burned his skin, and a shockwave threw him backward, smashing him into a broken wall. Pain shot through his body, and his vision blurred. But all he could think about was the girl, safe beneath him. When he opened his eyes, the streets were gone, replaced by a strange light, soft and glowing. He tried to move, but his body was heavy, his limbs weak, and his chest ached with every breath. The alien girl was beside him, her small hand brushing against his, her eyes wide with concern. Rylan tried to speak, but his throat was dry, his voice barely a whisper. Where are we?" The walls around them shimmered with a soft, blue light, and the floor beneath them glowed like crystal. Floating symbols and shapes moved across the air, almost alive, and a hum filled the space. Soothing yet strange, Rylan struggled to sit up, his body screaming in pain. But the girl held his hand firmly, giving him strength. "Are we still on Aurelia?" he asked, confusion and fear mixing in his voice. Suddenly, a shadow moved across the glowing walls, tall and translucent. With eyes that shone like stars, Rylan froze, unsure if it was friend or enemy, and the girl whispered, "It's okay. I think they are." The keepers, the being approached, its voice entering Rylan's mind, calm yet commanding. "You saved her life, human, and for that, you are here now." Rylan's heart pounded. He did not understand, but he could feel the weight of its tree. Words, the girl squeezed his hand, her energy glowing brighter as if sensing the new world around them. Rylan tried to stand, leaning on the girl for support. Every step a challenge, he looked around, taking in the beauty of the crystal-like city, the flowing lights, and the strange energy that seemed to move with a life of its own. But despite the beauty, he felt a new fear rising in his chest, the memory of the raiders and the blast still fresh. He realized that danger had not ended with the explosion. It had only changed form, and he was trapped in a place he did not understand. The girl pointed toward a tunnel of light, her small hand steady, her glowing eyes filled with trust. Rylan nodded, taking a deep breath, forcing his legs to move, following her into the unknown. Every step echoed in the glowing corridor, and whispers of energy brushed against his mind, almost like the city itself was speaking. He felt small, fragile, and out of place. But Girl's presence gave him courage, reminding him that he had a reason to survive. Suddenly, a loud vibration shook the floor, red lights flashing across the walls. Ryland froze, sensing danger. And the girl whispered urgently, "They are coming. We must hurry." Fear surged through him, but he knew running was the only choice. Every muscle in his body tensed as he followed her deeper into the glowing city. The suspense was unbearable. Each moment could bring death, and Ryland realized that surviving the blast was only the first test. As they turned a corner, he glimpsed shadows moving far ahead, moving faster than any human or alien he had seen. His heart raced, and he instinctively held the girl closer, protecting her as they ran. He did not know what awaited them. But one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again. The explosion had changed everything, and the world outside the city was no longer his concern. All that mattered now was survival, and the strange new world that had taken him and the alien girl in. Ryland followed the alien girl through the glowing tunnel, each step echoing softly. Against the walls of light, the air shimmered, humming with energy that made his skin tingle. He tried to take it all in, the beauty and the strangeness, but fear and confusion held him tight. "Where are we going?" he asked, his voice weak. The girl shook her head slightly, her glowing eyes looking ahead. "We have to reach the heart of the city," she whispered. Ryland nodded, gripping her hand tighter, afraid of letting go, afraid of what might be waiting around the next corner. As they emerged from the tunnel, the city stretched before them, vast and impossible. Towers of crystal soared high into the sky, reflecting light in every color imaginable. Bridges of pure energy connected the buildings, and rivers of glowing liquid flowed through streets with no ground beneath them. Ryland blinked, unable to comprehend it. The city felt alive, moving in ways that seemed almost conscious. Every shadow and reflection seemed to watch them, and he shivered, feeling eyes on his back. "Who lives here?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The girl's small hand squeezed his, her glow pulsing softly. "The keepers," she said simply. Before he could ask more, a figure appeared before them, tall and translucent, its body flowing like liquid light. It had no face, but Ryland felt its gaze, sharp and intelligent, studying him like he was an open book. "You saved a life, human," it said, not with words, but directly into his mind, "and for that, you are here. Protected, for now." Ryland stumbled back, fear and awe mixing inside him. The alien girl held him steady, whispering, "Do not be afraid. They are not our enemies." Yet, he nodded, still unsure, but grateful for her calm presence. The figure gestured, and a platform of glowing crystal rose before them, carrying them silently into the city. Ryland had never felt such a sensation floating in midair. Nothing holding him, yet he did not fall. The city stretched endlessly in every direction, and he felt small, fragile, like a human lost in a dream. Suddenly, the platform stopped above a wide plaza, glowing softly beneath a massive crystal dome. Ryland could see dozens of keepers moving through the city, their bodies flowing with light. Some seemed to communicate through pulses of energy. Others observed silently. The girl whispered, "We must go to the council hall. That is where they will decide what happens next." Ryland's heart pounded, realizing that this world had rules he did not understand. Every step forward was a step into the unknown, and danger could be anywhere. As they walked through the plaza, Ryland noticed shadows moving at the edges of the light, faster than the keepers, darker, with energy that pulsed differently. "There. Coming," the girl whispered urgently. Ryland's pulse quickened, and he tightened his grip on her hand. "Who?" he asked, panic creeping into his voice. "The raiders," she said, her small body tensing. "They followed us here." They know the city's secrets, and they want the power she carries. Rylan felt a chill run down his spine. The explosion had saved the girl, but it had not saved them from what was coming. The city itself seemed to respond, walls and bridges shifting as if aware of the threat. Lights pulsed faster, and the air hummed with tension. Every shadow felt like it could hide an enemy, and Rylan's every instinct screamed to run, but he could not leave the girl behind. Not now, not ever. They reached a massive gateway, carved from solid crystal, etched with symbols that glowed like fire. The girl touched the symbols, and the doors slid open silently, revealing a hall of shimmering light. Inside, dozens of keepers gathered, moving in a rhythm that made the energy in the room pulse. Rylan felt their power immense and overwhelming, and his knees trembled. One of the keepers, larger and brighter than the others, floated forward, its presence filling the room. "You have arrived," it said, its voice calm but commanding. "You have crossed into a world few humans ever see, and your choice will shape what comes next." Rylan swallowed hard, fear and responsibility weighing him down. He looked at the girl, who gave him a small, encouraging smile. Her hand in his reminded him why he was here, why he had risked everything. "Stay close," she whispered, and he nodded. The council keeper raised a limb, and the room darkened slightly, leaving only the glowing symbols to light the space. "Your world, your choices. Your courages will be tested," it said. "Prepare yourselves, for what comes will not forgive weakness." Rylan felt a surge of determination. He could not understand everything, could not control the power or the keepers, but he could protect the girl. Together, they would face whatever dangers this city held. The energy in the hall thrummed louder, and Rylan realized the danger was already near. Shadows flickered at the edges of his vision. Fast and dark, he tightened his grip on the girl's hand and whispered, "I won't let anything hurt you." She smiled faintly, glowing brighter, and they stepped forward into the unknown, the suspense of the crystal city of the keepers. And the approaching raiders hung thick in the air. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. And Rylan knew the real challenge had only just begun. The Hall of Light stretched endlessly before Rylan and the alien girl, every step echoing in rhythm with the city's hum. Rylan's legs trembled under him, the weight of what had happened pressing on his chest. He could feel the keeper's energy surrounding him, probing his mind, testing him in ways he did not understand. The girl held his hand tightly, her glow pulsing like a heartbeat, reassuring him that he was not alone. They moved forward slowly, every step a test, every shadow a potential threat. A massive keeper floated to the center of the hall, its body brighter and taller than the others. It radiated power, and Rylan felt his courage shrink for a moment. "You have survived the explosion, human," it said, its voice resonating in his mind. "But survival alone is not enough. To protect her, to protect this world, you must face the challenge." Rylan swallowed hard, his heart pounding. "The challenge?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. The girl squeezed his hand and whispered, "It is a test, Rylan. The keepers test everyone who enters their city." The keeper raised a limb, and the light in the hall shifted, forming a swirling vortex in the center. Images flashed inside the vortex. Cities burning, people screaming, strange creatures moving in darkness. Rylan felt dizzy, the visions pulling at his mind, showing him chaos he had never imagined. "You must enter," the keeper said, "and face the trials that lie within. Only then will you understand your purpose." Rylan hesitated, fear clawing at his throat. The girl's glowing eyes met his, and in that moment he knew he could not turn back. He nodded, taking a deep breath, and stepped toward the vortex. The girl following closely behind. The moment they entered, the world changed. They were no longer in the glowing hall, but in a dark landscape. jagged rocks under their feet. The sky above, black and stormy. Lightning split the clouds, illuminating shapes that moved in the shadows. Rylon could hear whispers, voices of fear and doubt echoing in his mind. "Who are you?" he shouted, his voice swallowed by the storm. The girl did not answer, only held his hand. Her glow dimmer but steady. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, and shadowy figures rose from the darkness. They had no faces, only glowing red eyes. And they moved with terrifying speed. Rylon's heart raced, and he raised his hands. Instinctively preparing to defend, the girl stepped in front of him, her small body glowing brighter, and whispered, "Focus, Rylon. They are illusions, but your fear can make them real." He closed his eyes, trying to calm his racing heart. When he opened them, the shadows paused, unsure, reacting to his courage. A new challenge appeared. A bridge of light stretching across a chasm of swirling darkness. Rylon could feel the wind of the abyss trying to push him off. He stepped onto the bridge carefully, the girl following. Each step was a battle against the fear inside him. Halfway across, the bridge began to crack, pieces of light falling into the void. Rylon stumbled, but the girl's hand held him steady. "Keep moving," she urged, and he forced his legs to continue, step by step, till they reached the other side. As they crossed, a voice echoed in Rylon's mind, deep and commanding. "You are brave, human. But bravery alone will not protect her." Suddenly, the ground beneath them shifted, and they were falling into darkness. Rylon's stomach dropped, and he grabbed the girl instinctively, her glow brightening as they fell. Then, without warning, they landed softly on solid ground, the storm fading around them. Before them stood a mirror of crystal, glowing with an inner light. The keeper's voice returned. "Look within, human. Face yourself." Rylon approached the mirror, hesitant, and saw his own reflection. But not just himself. He saw every fear, every doubt, every moment he had felt weak or powerless. And he saw the explosion, the girl trapped, the moment he had risked everything to save her. Tears filled his eyes, but he did not turn away. He realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but moving forward despite it. He reached out and touched the crystal, and a warmth spread through him, calming his heart. The girl placed her hand beside his, her glow merging with his. Rylon felt a connection, a bond stronger than anything he had known. The mirror pulsed, and the shadows and storm disappeared. They were back in the Hall of Light, the keepers surrounding them. The massive keeper nodded, its presence softening. "You have passed the first trial," it said. "Your courage, your heart, your choice to protect her. This is what makes you worthy." Rylon exhaled, relief flooding through him. He looked at the girl, who smiled faintly, her glow steady and warm. But even as the relief washed over him, Rylon could feel the city shift. The shadows of the raiders still lingered, their energy sensing the girl's power. The keeper's words were comforting, but he knew the challenge was far from over. He took the girl's hand, determination burning in his chest. "No matter what comes next," he whispered, "I will protect you." She nodded, her eyes glowing brighter than before, and together they stepped forward, ready for the next trial. The suspense of the Crystal City pressed in on them, every heartbeat a warning, every shadow a test. And Rylon realized that surviving the explosion had only been the beginning. Rylon and the alien girl moved cautiously through the Hall of Light, the Keeper's energy still buzzing softly around them. He could feel the echo of the first trial, lingering in his chest, a mixture of relief and tension. The girl's hand in his steadied him, her glow bright and warm. But the weight of what lay ahead pressed heavily. "They are close," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Rylon's heart tightened. He had hoped that surviving the Keeper's first trial would bring a moment of peace. But the city seemed alive, sensing the danger that followed them. And the shadows at the edges of the light flickered, restless as they turned a corner. The hall opened into a wide chamber, dark despite the glowing walls. Rylan squinted, trying to make out the shapes moving in the darkness. Suddenly, the shadows lunged, twisting and sliding across the floor like smoke. Rylan stumbled back, instinctively shielding the girl. She stayed close to him, her glow intensifying, but even her light seemed fragile against the growing darkness. "They're raiders," she whispered urgently. Rylan's stomach churned. "Raiders? Here?" "Yes," she said, her voice firm now. "They have been tracking us. They know the girl's power and want it for themselves." The shadows grew larger, forming monstrous shapes with glowing red eyes, faster than anything Rylan had seen. He felt panic rise, but he forced himself to stand tall, gripping the girl's hand tightly. One shadow lunged at him, faster than he could react, but as it reached him, the girl extended her other hand, sending a pulse of bright energy through the air. The shadow screamed a low, terrifying sound and dissolved into nothing. Rylan blinked, amazed and terrified. "Your courage strengthens her," she said, her eyes glowing brighter. "You must stay strong, or the shadows will overtake us." Rylan nodded, swallowing hard, feeling the weight of responsibility. He had risked his life once to save her from the explosion. And now he realized the fight was far from over. Every shadow that appeared tested him. Each step forward, a battle against fear. He learned quickly that their energy could be disrupted by focus and calm. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and reached out with his mind. Matching the girl's rhythm, together, they created a wave of energy that pushed the raiders back. Their red eyes flickering with hesitation, but the victory was temporary. More shadows emerged from every corner, darker, faster, smarter. Rylan realized the raiders were not just after the girl, they wanted the city itself, its power, and the keepers who guarded it. "They are planning something," he said, his voice low and urgent. The girl nodded. "They want the heart of the city. If they reach it, everything we know will fall." Rylan's pulse quickened. The explosion had been dangerous, but this was a war he had not prepared for. He tightened his grip on her hand, determination rising in his chest. "No matter what happens," he whispered, "I will not let them win." The shadows surged forward again, a mass of darkness against their light. Rylan and the girl moved as one, their energy pulsing together, creating a barrier that shimmered and burned with color. One of the larger raiders broke through, its clawed form lunging at them. Rylan reacted instinctively, throwing himself in front of the girl, feeling the creature's energy strike him. Pain shot through his arm, but he held firm, refusing to let go. The girl's glow flared, merging with his, and together they pushed the raider back. It shrieked and dissolved, leaving a scar of darkness that quickly faded. Rylan's heart pounded in his chest as more shadows closed in. He could feel the city itself shifting, responding to the threat, walls bending and corridors changing. The keepers had not left them unprotected, but Rylan realized their help was limited. He would have to fight, not just with courage, but with strategy and determination. He glanced at the girl, her eyes wide but unwavering. "We must reach the heart," she said, her voice steady now. Rylan nodded, understanding the truth in her words. Feeling a surge of courage, he stepped forward, ready to defend the crystal, ready to face whatever darkness the raiders could throw at them. The shadows lurked, waiting, calculating. And Rylan knew with every heartbeat that the true test had begun. Rylan stood before the massive crystal, its light washing over him, warm and powerful. The alien girl's hand was still in his, her glow steady and strong. But he could feel the tension radiating from her. The shadows at the edge of the chamber shifted and swirled, their red eyes fixed on the crystal. Ryland's heart pounded in his chest, every instinct screaming that this was the moment they had been preparing for. He tightened his grip on the girl's hand, feeling her energy flow into him, giving him courage. The largest shadow, taller than the rest, stepped forward. Its form flickering and dark, it spoke in a voice that rumbled like thunder. "Step aside, human. The power of this city belongs to us." Ryland's jaw tightened. "No," he said firmly. "You will not touch her, and you will not touch this city." The shadow laughed, a deep, echoing sound that filled the chamber with fear. Without warning, it surged forward. Faster than Ryland could react, Ryland stepped in front of the girl instinctively, raising his arms. A wave of her energy pulsed through him, pushing the shadow back for a moment. But more shadows poured into the chamber from every corner, a sea of darkness surrounding them. Ryland realized then that the battle would not be won with strength alone. He needed to think, to act, and to fight with his mind as well as his heart. The girl's glow intensified, her energy forming a barrier around the crystal. Ryland could feel her determination, her will to protect the city and him. He drew a deep breath and focused, reaching into the energy of the hall. He could feel the city responding to him, the walls bending slightly, the ground humming beneath their feet. The shadows hissed and shrieked as if they sensed the shift. In power, Ryland knew they had one chance to push them back completely. He stepped forward, his voice ringing in the chamber. "Leave now, or face the consequences." The shadows lunged, a wave of darkness crashing toward them. Ryland and the girl moved as one, sending pulses of energy from their hands. The light from the crystal merged with their combined power, forming a shield of brilliance. The shadows screamed, their forms twisting and melting into the air. But the largest shadow, the one that had spoken, remained. Its eyes burning brighter, Ryland felt fear for the first time in the battle. But he did not let it show. He remembered the explosion, how he had risked everything to save her. He remembered the Keeper's trial and the courage it had taken to face his own fears. And he realized that courage was not about the absence of fear, but acting despite it. He surged forward, pushing his energy into the shadow. Forcing it back, the alien girl joined him, her light flowing into his. And together, they created a wave so powerful it knocked the shadow to the ground. The shadow roared, twisting in agony, but it did not vanish. Ryland knew this was the final moment. The decisive strike. He reached deep inside himself, past fear, past pain, past doubt, and he sent a pulse of energy that was pure, unshakable, and focused. Straight at the shadow, the chamber shook, the crystal pulsing with every heartbeat. The largest shadow screamed, its red eyes flickering. And then it exploded into darkness. The remaining shadows faltered, confused and weakened. The alien girl stepped forward, her glow merging with the crystal, sealing the chamber in light. Ryland fell to his knees, exhausted, but the warmth of the crystal and the girl's hand reassured him. They had done it, the shadows were gone, for now, and the heart of the city was safe. The girl looked at him, her eyes shining. "You did it, Ryland," she whispered. He smiled weakly, feeling relief and pride, but also knowing the danger was far from over. From the shadows of the chamber, a soft voice echoed, calm and commanding. "You have proven your courage, human, but the true challenge lies ahead." Ryland's heart skipped a beat, fear creeping back in. The girl's hand squeezed his, steadying him. "We will face it together," she said, her voice firm. Ryland nodded, understanding that this battle had been only the first of many. The heart of the city pulsed with life, and he felt a strange connection, as if it was guiding them, preparing them for what was next. Ryland looked around the chamber, seeing the city not just as a place of light, but as a living force. He realized the keepers had chosen him for more than survival. They had chosen him to protect this power. And he knew that no matter the shadows that came, he would not run, he would fight. And he would protect her, because she was not just a girl he had saved from the explosion. She was a beacon of hope. And he would stand with her through every trial, every shadow, and every danger that came their way. Together, they stepped forward toward the next challenge, ready for whatever the city had in store. Rylan and the alien girl moved cautiously through the city's glowing corridors. The pulse of the crystal still hummed softly beneath their feet, a reminder of the power they had protected. But the air felt different now, heavier, filled with whispers they could not understand. Every shadow they had defeated seemed to leave a memory, a trace of danger. Lingering in the walls, Rylan's instincts told him to be careful, to trust nothing except the girl's hand in his. She held it tightly, her glow steady. But even her eyes flickered with worry. "Something feels wrong," Rylan said, his voice low. The girl nodded. "Glancing around the corridors, I can sense it too. The city is alive, and it is watching us." They rounded a corner and saw a figure standing silently in the middle of the hallway. Rylan squinted, trying to see who it was. The figure stepped forward, and Rylan's blood ran cold. It was one of the keepers, the ones who had guided them through the city's trials. But something was different. Its eyes held a strange, calculating look. "Why are you here?" Rylan asked cautiously. The keeper smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. It was cold, almost cruel. "You have done well to reach this far," it said softly. "But the power of the city is not meant for you." Human Rylan's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" The alien girl stepped closer, her glow flaring. "Why are you turning against us?" The keeper shook its head slowly. "I do not turn against you. I serve the true masters of this city." Rylan's stomach twisted. He had trusted the keepers, relied on them to survive the first trials. And now, one of them had betrayed him, standing between him and the heart of the city. He could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. "You lied to us," he said. Anger rising in his chest, the keeper's eyes glowed faintly red. "I lied to protect you from the truth." Human Ryland clenched his fists. The truth? What truth? The keeper's voice dropped, almost a whisper. "The city does not belong to anyone truly. It belongs to the strongest, and it will test all who claim it. The shadows, the raiders, they are only the beginning." The girl's glow flickered with fear. "Then why betray us? We fought to protect the city, not to be destroyed by those who guard it." The keeper's form shimmered, and suddenly shadows erupted from its body, dark and twisting. Rylan realized the betrayal was more than words. It was a trap, a challenge. Designed to break them, he stepped in front of the girl, his body tense, ready for the fight. The shadows lunged at them. Faster than anything Rylan had faced before, he could feel their energy clawing at him. Trying to weaken his resolve, the girl's glow flared brightly, her power reacting to his determination, and together they formed a shield. The keeper's voice echoed, "Only one can claim the heart. One must rise, and the other must fall." Rylan's mind raced. Could they survive this betrayal? Could they trust the power of the city to protect them? Or would they be consumed by the very guardians who had guided them so far? He gritted, his teeth refusing to let fear control him. He felt the girl's hand squeeze his, grounding him, reminding him why he had fought from the very beginning. The shadows attacked again, a wave of black twisting and writhing. Rylan pushed forward, sending pulses of energy, focusing not on the fear, but on the will to protect. The girl joined him, her glow merging with his energy, forming a wall of light that pushed the shadows back. The keeper's form flickered, struggling against their combined force, but it was clever, shifting strategies, sending tendrils of darkness that tried to divide and confuse them. Rylan took a deep breath and focused on the crystal, the heart of the city. He felt its pulse, its energy responding to his courage. The girl mirrored him, and together they created a wave of light that surged forward like a storm. The shadows screamed, twisting and melting into the air. The keeper stumbled back, its form weakening. But it spoke one last time, its voice dripping with warning. "Survive this, human, and you will face even greater trials." Rylan's heart was pounding, but he did not waver. He had faced explosions, shadows, and betrayal, and he would face whatever came next. The girl's glow softened slightly, her hand still in his, and Rylan felt a quiet strength in her presence. They had survived the hidden betrayal. But he knew the city still held secrets, and the real test was far from over. He looked around at the empty corridor, the lingering shadows retreating, and realized that trust would be their most dangerous challenge of all. Rylan tightened his grip on the girl's hand, determination burning in his chest. They would continue forward through betrayal, danger, and unknown trials, because they had each other, and together they would face whatever the city demanded, even if the next test was the most dangerous yet. Even if the keepers themselves turned against them, Rylan and the girl would survive. And they would not give up. The corridor ahead twisted and turned, leading deeper into the heart of the city. The glow of the crystal pulsed faintly, guiding them forward, and Rylan knew, with every heartbeat, that the final trial was closer than ever. But no betrayal, no shadow, and no force in the city could break the bond between him and the girl. Together, they stepped into the unknown, ready for the challenges that awaited, knowing that survival, courage, and trust would be their weapons in the trials to come. Rylan and the alien girl stood at the threshold of the city's deepest chamber. The air vibrated with energy, pulsing like a heartbeat. Every wall, every floor, every crystal glowed with a brilliance that made their eyes ache. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Rylan could feel the weight of the city pressing on him, demanding courage, wisdom, and strength. The girl's hand was warm in his, her glow steady. A reminder that he was not alone. "This is it," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Rylan nodded, taking a deep breath. "We faced shadows, explosions, betrayal. We can face this too." They stepped forward together, the chamber opening wide before them. At its center stood a colossal crystal, larger than any building they had ever seen. It pulsed with energy, bright and pure, almost alive, and inside its images swirled visions of the city, the shadows, the keepers, and themselves. Rylan felt a strange pull. A voice inside his mind, gentle but firm. It spoke without words. "Only those who are truly worthy can awaken the heart." The girl's glow brightened as she echoed the thought. "We are ready, Rylan." Together, he nodded, stepping closer, feeling the crystal's energy ripple through his body. The shadows they had defeated, the betrayal they had survived. The city's pulse had all converged in this moment. Rylan extended his hand toward the crystal, and the girl placed hers on top, their energy merging with its light. The crystal shivered, reacting to their combined will. Rylan felt visions rush through him. Memories of the explosion, the battles, the keeper's trials, and then a new vision, one of a galaxy, trembling, watching, waiting. The city was not just alive. It was a sentinel, a protector, a force meant to guard the balance of worlds. And they, human and alien, were now part of its will, its heart, its awakening. Suddenly, a wave of darkness surged from the chamber's corners. The shadows had returned. Stronger, faster, more determined. Rylan stepped in front of the girl, his body tense, ready to fight. The girl's glow flared brightly, sending waves of energy that pushed back the shadows. But the darkness kept coming, relentless, testing their resolve. Rylan realized that the final awakening was not just about The crystal, it was about courage, unity, and the refusal to yield to fear. He focused on the girl, their connection, their shared strength. Together, he whispered, "We are unstoppable." The girl nodded, and they sent a pulse of energy into the shadows. It was not just light. It was hope, determination, and unshakable courage. The shadows screamed, twisting and shrinking under the power of their unity, and then, slowly, they vanished, dissolving into nothing, leaving only calm and light. The crystal pulsed one last time. Brighter than ever, Rylan and the girl felt themselves lifted, their energy merging fully with its heart. They were no longer just protectors. They were part of the city's will. They could feel its history, its purpose, its endless vigilance over the galaxy, and in that moment, they understood they had awakened not just the heart of the city, but the potential within themselves, the power of trust, courage, and unity. The chamber quieted, the light softening to a steady glow. Rylan looked at the girl, and she looked back, their eyes full of awe and understanding. "We did it," he whispered. Still amazed at what they had accomplished, the girl smiled, her glow gentle now. "Yes. Together, we awakened the city." They stepped away from the crystal, their hands still intertwined, and as they walked through the corridors, the city seemed to hum with gratitude. It was alive, aware, and ready to guide those who were worthy. Outside the chamber, the city opened to a view of the stars, shining brighter than ever. Rylan and the girl stood on a balcony, looking at the galaxy that now seemed a little smaller, a little more connected, a little more alive. The trials they had faced, the betrayal, the battles, the shadows, it had all led to this moment. And they knew that while challenges would continue, they were stronger than ever, together, human and alien. They had awakened not just a city, but a new future. One filled with hope, courage, and endless possibilities. Rylan took a deep breath, feeling the city's pulse in his chest. The girl squeezed his hand, her glow reflecting in his eyes. They had faced everything and survived. And now they were ready for whatever the galaxy held. Because they were no longer just individuals, they were guardians, protectors, a force, united by courage and heart. And as the stars twinkled above, Rylan whispered, "We are ready." For anything, the alien girl smiled, her glow blending with his, and together they stepped forward. Into the future, into the unknown, awakened, unstoppable, and forever changed.